Welcome to ClickSeminars.live. Keep learning, keep earning in 2020 and beyond. And now let's get ready for our next speaker session starting now. Welcome everybody. Hi, I'm Mike Stewart, the Internet Audio Guy. I'm the host of ClickSeminars.live. And here we are. I can't believe what a week it's been. We're at the final amazing presentation. And of course, this one is very near and dear to my heart, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But right now, we got a little bit of housekeeping to do. We are sponsored and brought to you by the fine folks of ClickBank. If you have not been to clickseminars.live/ClickBank, please go there. Check out them. I remember years ago, even the speaker today talking about how you could make digital money with digital products, ebooks, and so forth at clickbank.com. ClickBank has kind of been around even longer than I have, and they're a great solution for getting online business going. So check them out ASAP. And then, of course, another thing, it's still not too late. After this presenter, all the speakers are coming in, including myself. I'll be there with all the organizers, Tom, Joe, and Jason of ClickSeminars.live. And we're going to have a Zoom party at 8:30 UK time, 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern Time. And it's really basically an hour and a half from now. We're going to be doing the speaker Zoom party, which is the grand finale of ClickSeminars.live. So let me tell you about the presenter coming now. I've got a script over here on this other monitor, and I'm going to slide it over here where I can read it without messing up. I know a lot of this by heart, but I'm going to go ahead and just read it. Our next presenter is one of the top internet marketers in the world, a highly sought after international speaker and trainer who shared the stage with people like Donald Trump, Richard Branson, Jay Abram, and many, many others. Starting with $1.83 in his pocket and no experience, he has grown into a multi-million-dollar international internet marketing organization doing business in over 100 countries. And he's here today to explain to you why now is the perfect time to do webinars, live presentations on the internet, why you need to do them now. And more importantly, he's going to show you the right way of doing them. So I would like to introduce to you somebody who is not only a dear, dear friend. I actually call him son. He means that much to me. There's a story for another day about that. We won't take your time up. But to welcome to the stage, my friend and the world's leading expert on so many subjects, including webinars, Armin Morin.
Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks for introducing me. And yes, he does call me son. So,
and you call me dad. So there
I do. So again, everyone, this is the last presentation. Yay! I know you guys have been through a lot. You've watched a lot of different speakers, and today I am hopefully going to make it worth your time sticking around and watching this presentation, because we're going to talk about something that I believe is literally 99.9% what I would call the perfect way to sell anything online. And it is called webinars. And we're going to talk all about it, how it works, and more importantly, how you can start utilizing it immediately. And more now really is the best time to start utilizing webinars. So we're going to go over all of that today. So don't go anywhere. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, take some notes, and let's get started. How's that? So let's start off with some basic
I was going to say bye, Armin. Didn't mean to interrupt your flow here, but the virtual stage is yours. Bye-bye.
Sounds great. Thanks, Mike. So again, everyone, let's start off with this. What are we going to cover? Well, let's just go over a couple of these details. Number one, why webinars? Why should we be using webinars today? And we'll talk about that more in detail. Why now? Again, that's more important. The secret about webinars, and a lot of people don't understand marketing the webinar, because, you know, all of you have seen webinars, but the problem that some of you had, even if you've done webinars, is you don't know how to get the people onto your webinar and also the numbers that go along with it. So if you understand this piece, everything about webinars is actually pretty easy. We're going to talk about the various parts of a webinar, and we're going to talk about the registrations, how to get people to register and what happens during the process. And we're also going to talk about during the webinar itself and after. So we're going to break it down into really three elements here, and that is before the webinar, during the webinar, and after the webinar. Those are the primary pieces, but webinars are the key to your business. If you look at every major marketer, if you look at every marketer that has been on this particular whole seminar that you've been watching, every single one of them do webinars. Every one of them do webinars. Why? Because it's the most effective way in order to sell. You see, nothing is equal. Let me explain that. Let's just do a little timeout here for a second. Now, there's a lot of different things that people don't understand about webinars, but when I say nothing is equal, is that there's different ways of selling that are more advantageous than others. And webinars actually is the number one way in order to sell something. It has the highest conversion out of anything. So if that's the case, why aren't more people doing them? Well, for a lot of the reasons that we're going to cover, but also I'm going to reveal to you that it's not probably what you think. Does that make sense? So let's continue on. So let's start off with the number one reason is why webinars, because some of you might have different ideas of what a webinar is and why should you do them today. And that's what's on your mind. Well, it's very simple. It's the perfect way to build your business. You generate leads. Think about this. Webinars, in order to attend a webinar, in order to attend this webinar that you've been watching, right? This scenario that we're looking at is you had to register. So number one, if you're doing a webinar, you are generating the leads. So whether they buy during your webinar or not, guess what? You still have the lead. So you're generating leads and you're generating sales. So the process is we generate a lead, we do a presentation, and hopefully some of those people will purchase from us. And I don't care if you're great or not great at doing webinars. Guess what? If you follow a system that's been established to do webinars, you make sales. And it's very easy. But the key is the more you do webinars, well, naturally, just like anything else, you get better at doing webinars. But also, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that you get yourself known. Now, if there's a certain percentage of people that are watching this right now as we speak, that if I could talk to you right now, some of you, not all, but some of you know who I am. You maybe have seen my picture. You may have seen me on a video before. You may have been on a webinar that I've done before. You may have seen me somewhere else, but you have a reference point of me. And because you know me, well, the reality is the likelihood that you will or have purchased something from me in the past is very good, because we've spent time together. So you know me already, and that makes it easier to sell. So also another reason is to build a following. Some of you right now, you're looking me up. If you don't know who I am, right, and what I've done, you're looking me up. And you may be going to my Facebook page or my Twitter account or my LinkedIn account. And then you might see me there, and then you might follow me. Or you may not do it today, but you might do it next week or the week after or the month after, or it might just pop up on your radar. And so you start following me, and then maybe down the road at some point, we might do business together, okay? So you're building a following at the same time, but also we're building trust. You see, if you just read a sales letter of mine, which are pretty good, but here's the problem, is that you only see my words. You only see my headlines. You only see what I wrote and how good of a writer I am. You don't see me. You don't see me. You don't see my face. You don't hear my voice. You don't see my hand motions. You don't know if I'm excited or if I'm sad. You don't see all of that because it's just a sales letter. Now, again, a webinar though, we're spending some time together, not just a little bit of time, but typically 60 to 90 minutes, somewhere in that range. And therefore we create a bit of trust along the way as well. But also it's the way to make the most money in the shortest period of time. It's not uncommon to find people that would make what most people would call a year's income in just 90 minutes. For example, I don't know what the average income is here in the United States as an example where I live, but let's just say it's $50,000, okay? So if it was $50,000, then yeah, a lot of people make $50,000 in 90 minutes on a webinar. It's not that difficult. In fact, let me just break it down. Let's say you had a $2,000 product, right, that you were selling on this webinar. Well, you just need 25 sales. That's it. It's not a lot. Now, again, well, you say, but Armand, what if I only got 2 sales? You just made $4,000 in 90 minutes. I mean, are you going to complain about it? I wouldn't. I'm going to tell you that right now. I wouldn't complain about $4,000 in 90 minutes. That's huge. But again, that's just with one webinar. What if you did 2? What if you did 3? What if you did 4? What if you did 10 webinars in a month and you only got 2 sales off each one of those 10 webinars? You just made $40,000. So maybe you didn't make a year's income in a day or in 90 minutes, but maybe you made a year's income in a month. There's nothing wrong with that. You see, here's the problem, okay? Again, another little timeout. The problem with online marketing today is that you tend to compare yourself with the people that have been doing it for years. I've been now doing this almost 25 years. Next year will be 25 years that I've been online. That's crazy, first of all. Second thing is that in 25 years, I got good at a couple different things. So for you to compare yourself with me that has 25 years of experience doing this, that's not fair, because your expectations aren't going to be that. You see what I mean? So don't try to make 100, don't feel bad if you don't make $100,000 in 90 minutes. You see my point? You have to start somewhere, but you can do it much faster than I've ever done it. So just keep that in mind, okay? Keep it in mind. So now, why now? Well, it's very simple. 3 words: change, modify, adapt. There's no big secret. Right now, the world has changed. In my opinion, the world has changed now for good. And here's how I look at this. Yes, we have this COVID-19. We have this virus that has taken the world by storm. And all of us have been affected in some way, shape, or form as a result of this. And many of our businesses or our income has been affected as a result of this. And honestly, where we are today is that we're doing more things online, just like right now. We are online. You are wherever you may be, somewhere in the world. And we are having a conversation like you were sitting next door. That's amazing, first of all. Second of all, this is actually the direction that everything was going anyway. Okay, let me explain. Everything in the world was going to more of a virtual environment. It was already heading that way. We probably can all agree on that. At some point, everything was going to be moved online. It was going in that direction anyway. But the problem that we've experienced over the course of the last, 7 months or so, is we went through 7 years of progression in 7 months. And therefore, we feel this problem. We feel this pressure of being pushed into something that we don't know a lot about, which is maybe virtual marketing or online marketing. And that's what happened. But in order to compete, in order to stay up to date with this, we need to do 3 things. And it's really simple: change, modify, and adapt. And I want you to write those down. If you forget anything, if you don't remember anything that I've said today, remember those 3 things, please. Because we need to change the way that you market, your interactions, your advertising, and the methods that you use. We need to modify to adapt to meet the current situations, whatever it is that you're doing. I mean, I used to have people come to my home all the time. Now I really don't want anyone coming to my house because I don't know what their practices are. I don't know if they continually or be careful about wearing a mask or are concerned about where they have been. And I don't want to risk that for my family. Right. So I need to make and modify that. And so I've been meeting with people online, virtually, on one-to-one sessions or group sessions, and that's worked out great. And then we need to adapt, because even with what we're doing, and I'm probably a little bit more technical than a lot of people, the fact is that the problems and circumstances that we have, we just need to stay up to date with them, and we need to adjust to the circumstances as they happen and not fall behind. Because right now we just need to be aware of what we need to use. And you don't have to know everything right now. I'm going to tell you that right at this point, because what happens is people feel lost. And some of you might feel this way right now. You feel lost because I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, or I don't know which service to use. I don't know where I'm going to best spend my money on this or that, or whatever it may be. And you just feel lost. And that's a very hard feeling to overcome. But that is also where someone like me can come in and say, hey, don't worry about it. Let me just give you the answer. Okay. Now, you see what I mean? That's where the advantage is right now, where you can actually go to someone and actually get that information that you need. So the secret, though, about webinars is it establishes yourself. You get established by the more people you see you, kind of what I alluded to a little bit earlier. The more people that see you, the more they like you, they trust you. So the more they trust you, the more they buy from you. That's how you have to think about it. Trust is the basis of the internet. Now, people tend to think that it's words that you say. It's the magic phrases that come out of my mouth that make people want to buy from me. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I do know this, is that if I can earn a person's trust, then I've won that person over forever. You see, now, on the other hand, the moment I lose that person's trust, I've lost that person forever. So the internet really isn't about sales. The internet is actually about trust. And that's how you have to look at it. And that's where the key is if you understand that principle, you'll understand why this, you seeing me, you hearing me, and everything about that works and why it works so well. So keep that in mind. So let's talk about what's needed. Okay. So maybe you're going to say, okay, I'll trust him. Armand, I trust you. So what do I need in order to make this happen? Well, it's very simple. I need a concept, something that I want to share with the world. I need some marketing, a little bit of knowledge in order to make that happen. I need some training to be able to teach someone. In other words, I want to be able to teach someone something because that's why they're going to attend. And I need an offer, something that I want to ultimately sell them. And that's basically it. That's the short version. So let's talk about the concept first. So what is it about? What is it about? What do people want to know about? So example, you have skills. You have skills that other people may want to know about. You have something that you want to share with people. Now, again, let's just stop right there, because what I just said is that you have a skill that other people might want to know about. That's one method over here. You might have, as an example, you might be an author. If you're an author, then maybe the content of your book is your topic, and you want to share with people what's in that book or that idea that you're promoting, and that might lead to a course and blah, blah, blah over there. But also some of you might have just a general message that you want to share with the world, something that you feel is important, something that you have found out that you want to just spread that word about it. And that's also content, of course. And then there's some of you over here that are very specific. I have a product. I think it's going to be life-changing. If people can use this product and see this product, then they're going to buy it. Okay. And then, underlying some of those things are, of course, ways to make money. But when you're talking about your idea of what people want to learn about, really, the sky's the limit. Really, the sky is the limit in this case. So the first thing that you have to ask yourself is, do people want to know about it? So how do you know? Search on Google. Go to Google. Are people searching for this? Another way that you can do this, go to trends.google.com, trends.google.com, type it in, and you can see the popularity of that particular subject. So again, pretty simple. And then you have to decide though, well, okay, I have something that's worthwhile. People are searching for, they want to know about this. And then the question is the webinar. What is the purpose of your webinar? Now, some of you might be thinking, well, it's to sell something. It's to make money. Maybe it is. It's not always the answer, because our options are to sell something, right? That's one option. But it could be something else. It could be for leads. So as an example, if you're a consultant, maybe the idea is not to go for the jugular, not a juggler, but a jugular, I think that is, right? So the juggler, not to cut their throat, let's put it that way. But the idea is to not to, go for the throat, but really is to generate the lead. We want to talk to them first to see if we can help them. And that might be a better option. So you're going for the lead instead of the actual sale. So there is a couple options there. But whatever you're going to do is be clear of your intent, whether if you want people to sign up to get a free consultation or to actually buy a product. Be very clear, be direct. Don't beat around the bush. Just be direct. Tell people, I want you to buy my product. Let me give you an example, right? Let me just make it really simple. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to make you an offer. There's no big secret. At the end of the presentation, you've seen several presentations already throughout this whole week. And at the end of every one of those presentations, I'm pretty sure that most of them made an offer. So at the end of mine, I'm going to do like everyone else and make an offer. Now, I'm also going to tell you this, that the offer that I'm going to make you obviously is going to be about teaching you how to utilize webinars. Does that make sense? But at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you a huge reason to want to do this? Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to give you a big reason, a huge reason why you want to do this particular program. So don't go anywhere. So again, be clear. You see, it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. I just told you at the end, I'm going to make an offer, but I was just very upfront about it because I don't think that any of you are stupid. I think you know already that I was going to do that. So why not just throw it out there in front of everybody? You see what I mean? Don't be scared of selling. Okay. Just don't be scared of it. But you also don't have to be a pushy salesperson in order to sell something. If you have something of value, let people know that you have something of value that they can't get anywhere else. That's what you need to do. Make sense? So let's continue on. So now what you want to do is make this presentation valuable, but the idea really is to make the complex simple. Take the most complex thing about your subject and make it simple. That's what people want. If you can take something hard and make it simple, you look like a god. And that's what people want. They want to do things easy. So if you can make their lives easier in some way, shape, or form, you got to win. Also, when it comes to the webinar, once you have the idea for what a webinar is, you have to market it, right? So you're getting essentially opt-ins or registrations at what you're doing. And there's 4 places that we want to do it. And I'm just going to make this really, really simple for you because people make this so hard. I don't know how to market a webinar, right? I'm going to show you. Here's 4 places. Don't think of any other place. Don't do any other thing. Just these 4. And I'm going to make it easy. So Facebook, Google, Bing, Yahoo, done. That's it. Now, I know it's not some revolutionary new way of marketing, but I'm going to tell you this. Inside of each one of these, for example, do you know that inside of Google, there's I think it's up to 12 different ways to run campaigns? 12 different, entirely different segments of running a campaign inside of Google. And I'm not talking about the small details. I'm talking about 12 unique different ways in order to market on Google alone. On Facebook, there's about 9 different ways in order to market on Facebook, not including the variations of how you could market something on Facebook. On Bing and Yahoo, they're the most simple. There's really only one way. So it's not that hard. But don't try looking for a lot of different places or something new or the worst thing that you could do. You ready? You ready? The worst thing that you could do is this. Try to rely on free advertising. Don't. No matter what your budget is, don't rely on free advertising because it's inconsistent and it doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't work. Yeah, if you have a list, sure. Email your list. That's technically free. But other than that, there's not much you can do to guarantee a consistent flow with webinars. Webinars are designed, let me just say it right now. Webinars are designed and are perfect for paid advertising. If you want to make $10,000, $20,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, you just need to do paid advertising. Now, again, that small amount of money that you pay is going to be key. Now, I'm going to show you in a second exactly what I mean by this. So, we'll talk about that in a second. So we're just going to come back to this, okay? Because there's a concept that I will share with you. I promise you. So don't go anywhere. So now, next, let's talk about the parts of a webinar, and you'll understand this, the marketing a little bit after. So the parts of a webinar is this. Now, I'm just going to run them through all of these because this is all the different parts of a webinar. This is it. There's no difference. There's nothing else. Yeah, there's pieces within this, but these are the basic parts of a webinar. It's an intro. The what are you going to talk about? The training that you're going to do, the offer, and then ultimately the close, which is the deal that you're going to make at the end, if you will, how you say it and what you do in order to entice people to make that happen. So the different parts of this webinar, this is what you've got to focus in on. It's not a lot, but it's very important that you have it structured in this way. You see, Sales itself is a psychological process. A lot of people always ask me, what sales books do you read? I don't read sales books. And what I read is psychology books. Why? Because I want to know how people think. I want to know how people act. I want to know how people react. And I want to know what they do in certain circumstances. And that gives me more information. It's a psychological process. And this is a psychological process in order to get people to sell. So again, we're going to go over each part of this. But let's start off with the intro itself. So the intro is what Mike talked about it a little bit. The intro that Mike introduced me, and that's technically an intro. But also in many of my presentations, I have a whole segment that usually takes, depending on how much time I have, 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes, telling you a little bit about me. Things like I've been online since 1996. Again, that's 24 years now. Crazy. But then I tell you about the different companies I've had, the fact I've done, I don't know, a couple $100 million in online sales at this particular point. Things like that. I've had dinner at Buckingham Palace. I show you the invitation that I had. I show you maybe me speaking on stages. I show you maybe sometimes even a picture or two of my house. And I show you those things to show you what I've done and to show you that I know what I'm talking about. It's building some sort of credibility. Not always. Today, as an example, I didn't do that. I have a shorter time frame to talk with everyone today. So I wanted to get rid of that and just let the presentation kind of sit on its own. And that's what I did. Just a very simple start. Let's get started and go from there. Okay. So the intro is where you talk about yourself. And the second piece is the what. Now, if you notice my presentation this is what we're going to cover today. Okay. And I gave you an outline of, I believe it was 8 or 9 things of the things that we're going to cover today. And it was just like an outline. It's like a table of contents. And so I got right straight to the point. Now, if this was as an example, a webinar that I was doing online, I would have told you the different things I'm going to cover in the video prior to you registering. And so that's going to give you a reason, either A, you want to know what I'm talking about, and that's going to give you a reason to opt in to this, right? That makes sense. And I'm going to entice you that during the webinar, I'm going to talk about these things. And so then when you got onto the webinar, I run over that list again. And now you're ready to actually, hopefully listen to those things, which brings us to the next piece, which is the training. You see, the training is why they're there. You made a promise. If you give me your name and email address, then I will teach you this. That's the promise. So the only reason that they're there is for the training. That's it, the training. So you have to understand that part. And what most people think, for some crazy reason, well, these people are here to hear my my pitch. No, they're not. No one woke up this morning saying, you know what? I think I want to get pitched on how to do a webinar today. No one ever said that. No one ever woke up this morning. If you did, call me. But other than that, I'm telling you, no one did. And no one will ever. So the reason why they're there is because they want to know how to do a webinar. So they're there because of the training. So the reason why they buy, you ready for this? The reason they will buy from you is because your training was so good that they want more. So the training is not just something that you stumble through. The training is what you do to get them to buy. A lot of people think that, well, it's the offer, it's the pitch, it's the close, it's the fancy words that you say. No, it's not. Absolutely not in any way. I can take anyone, and just teach you how to train. And at the end, I guarantee that you will outsell the majority of people at any event, any webinar, anywhere in the world. Why? Because that is why people buy. Does that make sense? So again, the training is why they buy. So let's continue on. So the training, you have to teach them something, teach them what they promised. That's the reason why they're attending, just like we just talked about. They are taking time from their life. Now, I can't really understate this or overstate this. They are taking time out of their lives. This is the one thing that I take more serious than anything else, is someone else's time. because that's the one thing that they will never, ever get back. The time that you've spent with me so far in this presentation has been, let's take a look. Let's take a look. How much time have you spent? We spent 30 minutes together so far. Guess what? 30 minutes together so far. You're never going to get that 30 minutes back. Hopefully, I've said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things so far that was worth your 30 minutes. And that's what you got to take seriously. So keep that in mind. Is it worth their time? It better be. So break it down. So in other words, break it down. Don't just tell them about something. I bought a book the other day from a guy that's actually a friend of mine. And he was promoting this book online, and I'm like, okay, well, it sounds pretty cool, and I'll buy it, right? I don't like asking people for free stuff or anything. So I'm just like, I'll buy it, who cares? So I bought the book, and I was really disappointed. And the reason why is because the book promised all these things, and they didn't really tell me anything. It was just general overviews. Tell me specifics. I want to know specifics. So you want to create the aha moments. In other words, things that make people going, oh my gosh, I've never heard it like that before. I've never heard that done that way. Or give them something that they can use right now. So as an example, I mean, some of the things I just said, if you modified your presentations already to include some of these things, you would definitely increase your sales, no doubt. Simply by modifying exactly utilizing the information that I've taught already, you could do that. So something that they can use right now. Does that make sense? So we also do want to get people to say, yes, we are selling, but you don't have to be overt in doing that. So understand what people want, get agreements along the way, and then make the offers. So as an example, understand what they want. What if someone's watching a webinar of mine about how to do a webinar? Well, what do they want? They want to know how to do a webinar. It's pretty obvious, right? Number 2, get agreements. So when I'm talking, many times you've heard me say over and over again at this particular point, does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying? Right? You see where I'm getting at? I'm just making those small things because I want you to answer, but I don't want you to answer verbally necessarily. I want you to answer in your head. It's the questions, it's the answers in your head that actually make a person buy. In other words, the more conversation I can get where you're answering in your head and you're saying yes, yes, yes in your head, the more likely that you are to purchase from me. Another way to do this is an optional way, is to make the offer up front. I already told you what the offer was. Okay, I told you that I'm already have this webinar program, and it's up there, right? So now, again, that program that I talked about, this Webinars on Demand program, I've also been silently selling it to you the whole time, right? And here's what I mean. Could you just look at the bottom of my slide? What does it say? Well, if you look at the bottom of my slide, in the lower left-hand corner, it says Webinars on Demand. Let me ask you a question. What do you think the name of my program is? Webinars on Demand, right? So I've been kind of silently selling you this, but also you can even take it one step further. So I can also tell you that this program, typically we sell it for $1,997. That's typically what we sell that program for. So again, I can tell you the price and be perfectly comfortable with that. But I can also tell you this, is that today we're doing something different. So don't leave, because at the end, we have something huge that we're going to share with you, and it has to do with the price. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. You see, you don't have to be drop dead serious when you're talking about this stuff. I joke a lot about my offer many times because it's just comfortable for me, and I'm not afraid of my offer. Don't be afraid of your offer. Does that make sense? So enhance the offer. In other words, do something that you can do up front and then come back and teach them more about that later on, but also give them a reason to buy today. So at the end of my presentation, I'll give you a reason why you should take advantage of this today as opposed to waiting, because number 1, we actually don't sell this online. Okay. So number 6, let's real quick. I went from 2 to 6 very quickly. Remind them of the offer. So throughout your presentation, you remind them of the offer. If you really think about it, I've told you and reminded you about my offer without being, again, trying to push you. Oh, you have to have this. You have to need this. Cancel everyone else's order because you need this. No, that's not what I said. I just said, hey, I've got this offer and it's fine. I just put it out there, right? Some of you might be thinking about it, some of you not, and that's okay. I'm fine with it either way. But remind them of the offer throughout your presentation so they know that it's coming up. Does that make sense? So stack it, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So the stack is how you do your presentation. This is the one thing. Russell Brunson in his book says he made, I don't know what it was, like $100 million so far, just from what I taught him, the stack. Russell came to me at an event he was speaking at for me. Russell always sold very low, didn't sell very well at all. And he'd be the first one to tell you that. I sat him down, I looked at his presentation, and I literally personally rewrote his close. And I explained to him what's called the stack, how we stack things up at the end of the presentation in order to get people to buy. And I explained to him why it works. He went from selling, $15,000, $20,000 or so each time he spoke to that particular event. I believe he did around $100,000, if I remember right, about $100,000 in sales at that specific event. So is that crazy? Yeah. But it's knowing what to do. This is something I created, and I've taught it to so many people. In fact, most speakers in the world use the stack now to this very day. So let's take a look at next. After the webinar. So this is the key to sales. X number of people will buy today. So some people will buy when you do your presentation initially, but we can double or triple or even quadruple this by simply following up with email and retargeting, remarketing, utilizing banners, as well. So let me give you an example. By following up with email, I'm just going to keep this really short and tell you that I send an email basically every day for the next 8 days to them after they attend a webinar of mine. Why? Because I want those people to come back and watch the replay. If they've missed it or they want to watch it again, I want to keep that in mind. And I do this for 8 days. And follow up. And throughout the 8 days, we'll double, triple, and sometimes even quadruple or more our sales simply by following up with people. So that's one method. The second method, today, many of you know about retargeting, remarketing. It's when you go to a site and you start seeing banners about the products that you've just seen, and they kind of follow you around the internet. Well, retargeting and remarketing is perfect for a webinar to try to get people to watch a replay. So you target them for the next X amount of time to get them to watch the replay of this. And you want to give them something to remind you. So for example, if you're watching a webinar and it's me on the camera like this, and not all webinars are like this, of course, because we're basically live streaming, which is slightly different. If you're seeing me on camera, I want to put my picture on that banner. If you just saw my presentation, which is a PowerPoint, which oddly enough, most webinars are just a PowerPoint, then I want to put my logo and things of that nature, things to remind you of what that presentation was all about and trying to get you to come back. So simple strategies. Now, this is another strategy that you can utilize. And this is something that I come up with recently. And that is what I've been doing is taking my campaigns and I've been targeting not whole countries. That's the hard part for a lot of people. They're like, well, I'm going to target everyone in the United States, and it doesn't happen because it's impossible, really. But what I've been doing is breaking everything down into cities. So as an example, I might target London, Los Angeles, Sydney. And so I take that one webinar that I have and I put it on a replay. And then what I do is I target London in London time. I target Los Angeles and West Coast time. I target Sydney and whatever time zone Sydney's in. And then so I'm taking one webinar and I'm playing it in multiple countries, but specific cities as well, because I want to target those cities and it has a large population. And so I take one webinar basically and I turn it into 3 and it's 3 separate campaigns. Another scenario that you could do is instead of doing a webinar every day, okay, so the first strategy that we have is compounding, which is you take a webinar and you break it up into cities that have a large enough population to support that. The second strategy that we're talking about here right now is called frequency. In other words, instead of doing a webinar every day, and that's what most people do, is they'll set an automated webinar that's pre-recorded and they'll have it every day. And some of them say, hey, and you can just by chance, we're starting another one in 15 minutes. It just happened to be, which I think is kind of crazy because let me tell you why. The reason for a webinar is that it's premeditated. The reason a webinar works is because it's premeditated. And the reason is because I said, I want to watch the webinar on this day at this time. And it's an event, which means I'm going to appear at that time. It's like I bought a ticket to watch a movie. And and I think about that movie before I go. And the more I think about it, the more likely I'm going to want to watch that movie or hopefully enjoy that movie. In the webinar is the same thing. I want them to plan ahead of time to watch that webinar. So what most people do is they are, it's not that they're greedy. It's just that they've seen it and they use it where you're doing a webinar every day, multiple times per day on a replay. Okay, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But if you took a webinar and instead of doing it on a replay, is change it and do it once per week. So do your webinars once a week. Find out what's the best day for your market. So for example, let's say Wednesdays is the best day. Then you're going to say it's for this Wednesday coming up, we're doing a very special presentation at blah, blah, blah time. Well, all your sales are going to be condensed into one day. And that's how it works. So you can do this again and again and again. But again, you're promoting all your traffic, all your promotions are targeting one specific day. So instead of having, let's say, 20 people on a webinar 7 days a week, you would kind of condense all of that into one webinar and maybe have 140 people on all at the same time. So that's another way to look at this. So you have 7 days to promote the webinar, be your advertising to get more people on it. But the webinar numbers is very key. So let's say you have one webinar, and in this particular case, you promote one webinar to 3 different cities, and just expanding that idea. If you get 100 registrations, that's 300 registrations. And so the cost in ads would be $1,800. So let me explain how this works and why this number is exactly what it is. So focus on just a couple things. Number one, 300 people and the 1,800. Just focus on that for a moment. So what you're going to do is I had 300 people, 100 registrations. If you get 100 registrations for each of these, that's total 300 registrations. So how did I come up with 1,800? Well, the average webinar registration is somewhere between $5 to $7 to get a person to register for a webinar. So it's $5 to $7. So I'm using an average of 6. Okay, so just follow me. So 6 times 300 for 300 not visitors. It's registrations, people that opted in and gave me their name and email address. It cost me $1,800. Okay, just go with this. Don't worry about it's. I'm not telling you that you have to spend $1,800. You could spend $10 today, $20 tomorrow, $10 the next day. It's whatever your budget allows. But again, just follow me. Okay. So now, of that 1,800, of those 300 people, 30% of those people that registered are actually going to watch the webinar. So in other words, 2/3 of the people aren't even going to watch the webinar at first. So what happens is we get 100 people to watch the webinar. And if we had 5% close, well, that would be 5 sales. And if you had a product that sold for $1,000, that's $5,000 that you would have brought in minus your $1,800 expense, which means now you have $3,200 net after that. You see what I mean? This is predictable. These numbers, I don't care who you are, anywhere in the world, those numbers will almost be exact to everyone's numbers. So it's very interesting. So next, what you do is you roll it. Now, again, we did get our $1,800 back. So we have a total of $5,000 really. So if it cost us $6 per registration, if we divide 6 into 5,000, that's 833 registrations now that we could basically get from advertising. So that would mean 277 people would watch. That means you'd get 13 sales, which means we'd have $13,000. Again, minus our 5,000, we'd have $8,000 net. But now we have 13,000, right? So now we have 13,000 to market with, and which should give us 2,166 registrations. So you kind of see my point. You just keep reinvesting. That's what I call rolling it. You roll it into the next event, roll it into the next webinar. So it's very simple. So the question I have for you guys is very, very simple today. And that is this: who among you wants to create a 6 or 7 figure income with webinars? If that's you, then this is what you need to pay close attention to with what we're about to do. As you all know, at this particular point, the program that I have is something brand new that I've just created. I'm updating it constantly, and it's called Webinars on Demand. And Webinars on Demand, what is it? It's a complete system giving you the behind the scenes information and training that you need in order to make big dollars with webinars. And it's broken down not into 10, 12, or 15 different sessions, 4 sessions. 4 sessions. It's all you got to watch. 4 sessions. I think that's reasonable. But in there, it's approximately 6 hours worth of training that we have, teaching you everything that you need to know. And what you're going to learn is your messaging. In other words, how to take your subject. And some of you might have a subject that when you tell other people about it, maybe it's not too interesting. But if we pitch it and change it the right way, we can make it sexy and more people will register for your webinars. Also, choosing a topic that people will pay money for. Not all topics will work for webinars. I'm just going to tell you right now, not all of them will work for webinars. So what do? Well, you research a little bit more. We can show you exactly what you do to find out if it's going to work or if it's going to not before you even do it. So instead of wasting weeks and months worth of your time, I'm going to show you exactly how to make it work right from the very start. We're going to teach you how to time your webinars in order to have the maximum attendance. This is the part that I think people have issues with. In other words, they choose the wrong time and therefore they don't get enough people to actually watch. There is a pattern that works. It's knowing exactly when to send your emails, knowing when to get people to show up. It's ridiculous. It's crazy once you understand how it works. How to go worldwide instantly. In other words, you don't have to be just in the United States or wherever you may live. If you live in the UK or Australia, you don't have to be in any one of those places. You can be worldwide instantly, and that's going to work out well for you. The critical, we're going to tell you what to say during the introduction. The words that make people buy. There is one thing that I am good at, and that is selling. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'm not talking about magically trying to persuade people necessarily. There are some things that I do in order to get a person to think the way I want them to think. Does that make sense? And there are words, if structures, and it's the structure of the words that you say that will get a person to think exactly about what you want them to do and also how you want to buy. That's exactly what you need to understand. So I'm going to show you exactly those words and what I use and what I say and how to get people to do that. And also we're going to give you a complete PowerPoint presentation breakdown. What this is truly behind the scenes. I take one of my most popular presentations that I have that has literally made me hundreds of thousands of dollars with this one presentation. It's the latest presentation that I'm using. I break it down from the intro, every slide, line by line. I break it down and I show you exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and the effect that it's creating and why this actually works. So you can structure your presentation to go right along with this. So there's no secrets. At the end, you know everything that I am doing. I'm totally transparent as far as what it is. And I break down every single slide, telling you things that you never even thought possible. Plus, I'm going to give you my exact Facebook strategy. This is one that I'm actually getting ready to update because I have a new Facebook strategy, which actually works even better. That's going to be added to this program as well too. But I'm going to teach you my Facebook strategy, my Google search strategy, my YouTube ads for Google, my Bing ads, Yahoo ads, the whole thing. Also, for everyone that orders today, I'm going to give you lifetime access to my personal webinar software. Now, think about this. I'm basically saying you don't need to even buy webinar software. You don't need to buy it because I'm going to give you the software that I use for all my webinars, and you can use it right now. I personally coded this program over the course of 8 months, line by line. I created it exactly the way I wanted to with the system to make it work. And you're going to get that software, and I'm going to give you lifetime access to that particular software. It's amazing. It allows you to create unlimited webinars. It's 100% automated. And I even pay for your hosting. Plus, I'm going to give you another account that will actually make your website for you as well too, which is something that we call Pageable. And it's a brand new system that we have that we market online. And as a huge bonus today, I'm going to give you unlimited email access to me. Now, what does this mean? Unlimited email access to me is huge. Let me just tell you right now, I charge people $2,000 an hour to speak to me. If you want to just jump on the phone and say, hi, $2,000, that's it. And it's whether you use the whole hour or not, it's $2,000. Now, anytime that you have questions though, you can send the questions to me and I personally answer them. It goes into our help desk, and every morning at 11:30, they ask me the questions and I answer them back. I personally answer this. So create your webinar slides and then send them. So you follow my system, create your slides, send them in, and I'll look at them and I'll tell you what's good and what's bad and what to change and what not to change. You can't get that advice. I would charge people literally thousands upon thousands of dollars to do this. If you contacted my office and said, I want you to do a review of my presentation, yeah, I'm going to charge you $5,000. There's no doubt, no question. But in this, it's included with this program where I will look at your slides and tell you exactly what to change all the way down through, because I can do it very quickly. You can ask me anything you want, whether it be about marketing or whatever. Like I said, I charge $2,000 for this, but you get this as part of this package for free. So that, I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't even use the webinar program, if you just use that alone, that makes this whole program worth it, because it's unlimited email access to me. You can send me as many questions. I don't care if you send me 10 questions a day. I will answer every single one of you. And the other thing is that it's not some other person. It's not a person on my team. It's not someone else that's doing this. It's me doing this, because I take your business very seriously, because I know that what I say will determine your income. Does that make sense? And what you want is, you don't want some crony that's going to give you information that they don't know what they're talking about. The people on my team are great, but they don't know a lot about webinars. I do. So I can tell you exactly what to do and how to do it. Does that make sense? So also, along with this program, what I do is a lot different than a lot of other people. This is probably unlike what you've seen or experienced before. I give you lifetime updates to everything. You get free lifetime updates for the whole program. Anytime I update the training, the software, the strategies, you get access. Sometimes I'll even invite you to watch me record the new updates as well. Like I said, I'm doing a new update for that particular program that's going to update some of the marketing that we have behind it and a couple other little small pieces that I want to do anytime processes change. This ensures that you always have the most current and up-to-date information as I create it. So again, everything that you get today is going to be the Webinars on Demand training, which I already told you we market for $2,000, which is $19.97 when we do sell it. Lifetime webinar software, which is our webinar software, WP Webinar, our Pageable account, unlimited email access to me, lifetime updates to the program. If you total all that up, that's about $15,000, almost $16,000 worth of value just in this part of the package alone. But here's what we're doing today, right? The total value, again, is $15,988. And if you look at this, I already told you what the price is. It's $19.97. But here's the thing. I want to do something a little bit different today. And if you're one of the first people to take advantage of this package right now, there's going to be a link at some point put out there to you guys. And it's going to give you the option to go ahead and get a hold of this particular package. So I'll make this easy for you. So again, this program, like I said, is $15,988. Right now today, you're going to get a 50% discount. And what you're going to pay right now for the first few people is $997. That's it. Just $997. Now think about this. You can contact me anytime that you want with as many questions that you want. You're going to give you lifetime email access, lifetime email access to me. Plus, on top of that, I'm going to give you lifetime webinar software. I'm going to give you lifetime updates for $997. It's crazy. But again, you're going to get everything that we've just talked about: the webinar training, the lifetime software, the Pageable account, the unlimited email access to me, the lifetime updates to the program. But again, if you're one of the first people today, I will make this easy. Again, you're going to get a 50% discount right now for the first few people that go ahead and take advantage of this. It's only $997. That's it. So again, click the link that you're being presented with right now. Go ahead, get this. It's $997. But again, let's make this easy. You ready? Let's make this simple. So the faster you start using webinars, the faster your income goes up. And I'm going to make this the easiest decision that you'll ever make. So you guys ready? If you haven't purchased yet, if you haven't clicked that link yet, here's what you need to do right now. You ready? I told you this is going to be crazy. So here it is. Simply do this. Simply do this. Put down 547. 547. That's it. Just 547 today, and then make one more payment of 547 again 30 days from now. Again, put down 547 today, and then make one more payment of 547 30 days from now. That means you can get started right now, have complete access to the whole program, again, just for 547. So again, don't wait. Choose the option. And again, you have two options right now, $997, and that's going to save you about $100 or so. Or what you can do is you can break it up into two payments and simply put 547 down today, and then one more payment 30 days from now. But again, you're going to get instant access. Here's the key for everyone. I want you to understand this, is that the whole program itself is simple. It's straight to the point. I reveal to you the things that you've always wanted to know about webinars, but more importantly, I teach you what to do, what to say, how to say it. And I give you examples of my own presentations that I've done speaking all around the world. Many of the people that you have been listening to throughout these presentations, I've spoken with all of them at various events all over the world, some of them a few hundred people, and some of them 8, 9, 10,000 people that we've spoken in front of. And the one thing I can tell you this is that the training that I provide you with reveals exactly how to do this, not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, but what is working right now in the middle of a pandemic, how you can use webinars to not just increase your business a little, but to literally transform your business into something that you never even thought possible. But it's all going to be through webinars. So again, you don't have to buy software. You don't even have to buy hosting for it. I'm going to provide all of that. I'm going to give you unlimited email access to me. I'm going to give you lifetime access to this whole program. And again, it doesn't get any better. So go ahead, choose your options. You have, again, option number one, you can put down $997 today, make one payment. It's very simple. Or you can break it up and simply put $547 down today and then one more payment of $547. And again, you're going to get instant access either way. But go ahead and get started today and start utilizing webinars in order to build your business. So again, everyone, thank you so much for watching this presentation. I know I was the last speaker, but you know what they say. They always save the best for last. So with that being said, go ahead and place your order today. And again, let's start working together. Let me show you exactly how to make this work for you in your business, no matter what it is. And again, you're going to get that access to me where, again, you can ask me any kind of questions about your business and I will help you regarding that for the webinars. And so again, just don't wait, do it right now. And again, thank you all very much. And Mike, I'm going to turn it back over to you. How's that?
Armin, you always over deliver. And I got to tell you from personal experience, I'm wearing the shirt from 12 years ago, Armin, that you went over my presentation and I was at your seminar and you helped me with the things that you knew 12 years ago, which my God, it's changed so much, but you did that day. And I'll be the first to admit that this is a real testimonial, folks. I made the most money in one day in my life that day at Armin's seminar, the big seminar, 6 or 7 or 8. I don't remember what number it was. And in fact, Russell Brunson said that was the day I outsold him.
Yeah. So now here's the thing though, is right. There's remember I told you guys, there's little tiny things that people do during their presentations. With Mike, there was just a couple minor things, right? I showed him the stack. That was one thing. And I believe I pointed out the one thing is that I saw him do a presentation a few weeks beforehand and at another event that I did. And the one thing I noticed that when he went to sell, he never looked at the audience. And I pointed out that, and just again, really minor details. But again, just by making small changes, you have big end results. And again, the things that we were doing on stages, and we still do when we get a chance, now it's a little bit different. Now we do it in front of plexiglass. but now the things that we were doing back then still apply to what we're doing today. And that is, again, doing a presentation. There's no difference whatsoever.
Well, the truth is, folks, Armin's the real deal. I'm living proof of it. I wanted to wear this shirt. This shirt is a 14-year-old shirt, but it was I used to wear these Hawaiian shirts when I spoke at seminars like the World Internet Summit. That's how I know the folks at Click Seminars. The reason clickseminars.live and people are doing virtual seminars is because you can't book a seminar at a hotel anymore. I mean, and if you did, people are scared to come. So but it's the same principles. We're talking to people. Armin, you blow me away. You're so daggone smart. I'm proud to call you my son.
well, thanks, Dad.
All right. With that being said, I'm going to excuse you from the virtual room here right now.
Sounds great.
Well, folks, there you have it. The last presentation of clickseminars.live. But it's not over. In about 30 minutes time, the speaker networking VIP party starts. And that's only if you're a member of the VIP party. But here's what you need to do. You got plenty of time to go to clickseminars.live/Armin and take him up on this offer. I can tell you, all the folks that I know have made fortunes, and I'm one, including myself. I've made a tremendous, wonderful living sitting in front of my computer doing webinars, and now I'm calling them live-inars. I mean, this is essentially was live television mixed with a webinar, but it's still the same principles. And Armin is the best. I've learned from Armin. Hundreds of speakers all over the world, thousands of people have learned from Armin. He is the best. He's the greatest. I love him. I can't say enough great things about him. Am I biased? You darn tootin' I'm biased. It's just because he's that good. So with all that being said, folks, we're going to wind up clickseminars.live, and in 30 minutes time, see you at the Zoom party. Bye-bye, and see you soon.